Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's pre-drill webinar for the 2020 ChemResponder Nation-wide Drill for ammonia response. My name is Sean Dooling. I work for Chainbridge Technologies. Chainbridge is the contractor funded by the FEMA CBRN office to develop and steward the Chem Responder network as well as the broader CBRN responder network. I'll be facilitating today's webinar as well as the drill next week on Thursday, December 10. Before I get started with the content for today's webinar, I just want to give Dante Stellar an opportunity to give some comments. Dante is the program manager from the FEMA CBRN office for Chem Responder, and I'll let him give a welcome. Dante, go ahead.
Thanks, Sean. Can you just give a confirmation you can hear me?
Yep, got you loud and clear.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for joining the pre-drill webinar, which Chainbridge has put together. Most of you, as I look through the attendee list here, probably know who I am. For those of you who don't, as Sean said, I'm the program manager out of the FEMA CBRN office for the Chem Responder network. I also cover some other parts of the chem portfolio within our office. I just wanted to do a quick kickoff to say welcome to everybody. Excited about this. This is our first nationwide drill for Chem Responder. We have done these in the past for Rad Responder with great success. So hopefully we could continue that with Chem Responder portion of the CBRN Responder network. I want to say thank you to Chainbridge for putting this together and all the hard work they put into doing this drill, especially Sean. And also thank you to our partners at the Ammonia Safety and Training Institute who've been collaborating with us to develop the material, both that you'll see here today and that we're going to cover in the drill. So as Sean said, this is a pre-drill webinar. Just going to cover at high level some best practices and setup practices to get you ready to be able to take full advantage of the drill on the day that we're going to execute. So with that, I don't want to take up too much time. I'll kick it back to Sean and just say thank you again to everybody for joining.
Great, thanks, Dante. Like Dante mentioned, our drill is co-sponsored by the FEMA CBRN office as well as the Ammonia Safety and Training Institute. We thank our friends over at ASTI for their support throughout the planning process, and we look forward to working with them on the drill execution next week. Within the drill folder in the resource library, I'll be sharing the link to that folder at a few places throughout the webinar today. You'll find some resources from ASTI that you can use for reference, either in your preparation for the drill. We'll also reference them as we go through the drill execution next week. This webinar will be recorded today. We will be uploading the webinar to the video section in our resource library. We will also upload the PowerPoint into the document section in the resource library. That will be in the same drill folder that I just referenced, where we're also housing those ASTI resources. The drill execution will take place next week, Thursday, December 10, from 1 to 3 p.m. You do want to make sure you're registered for the drill. The link is available on the Chem Responder homepage. I've also put the link at the bottom of the slide here. There is an email that all registrants will be receiving just prior to the drill start with some important guidance for the drill itself. So please do make sure you're registered. To quickly preview the day of drill schedule, again, it'll take place next week on Thursday. All the times listed here are in Eastern. About 15 minutes prior to the drill, 12:45 p.m. Eastern, we'll be sending an email to all of the registered players for the drill, again, with some of the drill guidance that you'll need to carry out the drill itself. We'll start the drill with just some introductions. We'll preview our objectives and discuss the agenda for the drill. We'll hear a presentation from our partners at Ammonia Safety and Training Institute on some ammonia response and best practices and a bit about how they'll relate to the drill itself. We'll do some setup and give some instructions for the drill. We'll have the drill execution, and then we'll close the afternoon with an after-action discussion. And again, the registration link for the drill is at the bottom of the slide there. And it's important that you register so you receive that important email. So the purpose for the pre-drill webinar today is to provide a bit of logistical information about the drill next week. We'll also provide some tutorials about some important skills and knowledge that you'll need to successfully engage with the drill. There are a couple things that you can do with your Chem Responder organization prior to the drill start that will allow you to have the best experience. So that's what we'll start with here. The first thing is to add an instrument or a piece of equipment to your Chem Responder organization that has the ammonia sensor type. You may already have a detection instrument, again, in your Chem Responder equipment inventory that has the ammonia sensor type, in which case you're good to go. But if you don't have one, I'll show you how to do that. Secondly, we recommend you set up a chemical storage facility at the organization level that can be used for the drill. Again, if you already have a chemical storage site in your Chem Responder organization and you want to use that one for the drill, there's no further action needed here. But again, I'll talk about how you can do this if you don't yet have a facility you can use. To add an ammonia sensor to your equipment inventory in Chem Responder, you'll go to the organization space on the website. You'll go to the equipment page using the left-hand side navigation menu. There's an Add Equipment button in the upper right corner. You'll go to Create New from the drop-down menu, and that'll bring you to the Create New form. I'll note that you do need the Equipment Manager role to add an equipment item. If you don't have that role, you could request it from an organization administrator. You could also ask one of your colleagues, somebody else who's in the organization that has that role, to add the instrument on your behalf. Once you go to that Create New page, you'll be brought here, this Add Equipment form. You'll fill out the required fields, and any additional fields as appropriate. Do make sure that you add the ammonia sensor to the equipment types field that's towards the bottom of the form. That part is very important. You'll fill out some additional chemical sensor details as appropriate and click Changes when you're finished. I'll note that it is okay to add a quote-unquote demo ammonia sensor if you don't actually have one on hand that you can enter. So in this example, you'll see that I've just used a serial number that is 123 demo. That's a perfectly valid entry that Chem Responder will accept. So again, if you just want to use a notional piece of equipment for the drill's purposes, that is fine. The second prerequisite that I mentioned is adding a chemical storage facility to your Chem Responder organization. So again, we're here in the organization space. I'm on the facilities page, and in the upper right-hand corner, I have an Add Facility button. Again, this is a function that only organization administrators will have access to. So if you don't have that role at the organizational level, you won't see that button. Again, similar case, you can ask an existing administrator to add a facility, again, if your organization doesn't already have one, or you could request the role to be able to add the facility yourself. Once you go to the Add Facility page, you'll see a simple form. Again, you'll fill out some required fields that are marked with the red asterisks. For the type of the facility, set it to chemical storage. That'll give you some other options that are going to be relevant for the drill later on. So do make sure it is typed as a chemical storage site. When you're finished, you can click Save Changes. As with our ammonia sensor, it's okay if you just use a demo facility for the drill if you would prefer that. It's fine to use an actual site that you might have in Chem Responder, but if you'd prefer to use just a demo site and name it as such, that will be perfectly fine, again, for the drill. This next section will walk through 4 important skills you'll need for the Nation-wide Drill. The first is creating an event and adding partners to the event. Second is using drawing tools to create shapes on the map. Third is creating a SITREP, as well as chemical readings. And lastly, adding thresholds to an event. There are several job aids and user guides available in our resource library. These are also in the drill folder that I've referenced a couple times up to now. The link is there. The link to the drill folder is also available on the Chem Responder homepage. So you can reference these either before or during the drill if you need guidance on any of these skills. We'll go through a walkthrough of some of these skills now, and we'll start with creating an event. So to create an event in Chem Responder, you do need the event creator role at the organizational level. As I've said previously, if you don't have that role currently, you could request it from an existing organization administrator. You could also have somebody who does have that permission, who does have the event creator role. They could create the event on your behalf if you'd prefer that. And then once the event's created, you'll have access to it and you'll be able to carry out the remaining drill components. In order to create an event, there are two places you can go. On the left side, you see a screenshot of the home page, and under the events tile in the upper left corner of the dashboard, there is a create button. So you can start by clicking that create button there on the tile. You can also go into the ribbon bar to the events drop down, and you'll see a create an event option there as well, like the screenshot on the right shows. The event creation form, it's a simple one-page form. Some of the fields here will be provided to you as part of the drill guidance that you'll get again next Thursday. The name, type, and the scenario, again, those are all elements that the drill guidance will provide for you. When you are selecting the location for your event, the drill guidance is going to specify that you'll select from a facility to center the event. So again, this relates to why we're requesting that you have at least one chemical storage site that you can use to select as the event center at the organizational level. So again, when you get to this part of the create an event form, you're going to choose that select from a facility option when we start the drill next Thursday, and you'll select the facility that you're going to use for the drill. Make sure you save your changes when you've got all your fields filled out, and your event will be created. After you've created the event, the drill will ask you to add some partners to the event. To add or manage partners on the event, you'll navigate to the event space and select partners under the configuration tab, like the image on the left shows. That'll bring you to the partners page where you see a table of any partners that are on the event right now. In the upper right corner of that page, you'll see a blue Manage button. So you can click that Manage button and you'll be taken to this Manage Event Partners page. Here you can add or remove partners and adjust the participant type for any of the current event partners. To add a new partner to the event, in the top of the Manage Event Partners page, you'll see a green Add Partner button. You'll click that. It'll bring up a box for you where you can search for any organization in the Chem Responder network to add to your event. You can make your selections and click Continue. Once you've made your changes, make sure to save them, and you'll have made your partnership edits. Our next skill is User Drawing Tools. So this is an event map skill. To use the drawing tools, you'll first navigate to the event map and enable the user drawings layer under the orange layer bar there. You'll then close that layers menu, and below you'll open up the user drawing tools menu, and you'll click the blue begin drawing button to start to use the drawing tools. You'll select drawing tools on the map at the top there and select the shape that you want to draw. When you select the polygon, every time you click on the map, it will drop a point to create a side of that polygon. You'll double click then to finish the shape, and you can click stop drawing when you've finished making your shape. The drawing you create will appear in the user drawing side menu, again on the left side of the map. You can click the green disk by that drawing to save it. You can give that drawing a name. We'll also draw your attention to the Is Shared checkbox at the bottom of that box there, that little dialog box. If that is checked, that will mean everybody within the event can see the drawing that you create. Obviously, if it is unchecked, it is only you're the only user who is seeing that drawing. You can edit the shape's color and its outline. You can click the edit button towards the right of the drawing tools on the map. Select the shape that you want to edit. You can change the fill color, the stroke color, and when you are finished, you can click Stop Drawing. I'll also note that you can actually change the shape itself by clicking and dragging on the points. Our next skill is creating a SITREP and chemical readings in your event. To create a chemical SITREP in your event, you're going to go to the Record Data screen, and you can find that again using the left side navigation in the event space. That will show you a page with all the different data types, all these tiles. You'll find the chemical SITREPs button there on the right side. You'll be brought to a page that says Create Chemical SITREP Form. Before any of your other fields can be filled out, you need to select an organization at the top. So you'll first select the organization you're creating the SITREP under, and then you'll be able to fill out your remaining fields. To create a chemical reading, it's a very similar process. Again, we're at our Record Data screen. This time we'll navigate to the Chemical Readings button. At the Create Chemical Reading page, you'll start by again filling out our required fields. Again, those are marked with the red asterisks. As you scroll down the page, you'll see a section called Sensors. And on the right side of that Sensors child list, you'll see an Add Sensor button. If you click that Add Sensor button, it'll allow you to choose from your organization's equipment inventory, the sensors that you've got in that inventory. Choose the sensor you want. In this case, you're going to be selecting a piece of equipment that, again, is typed as an ammonia sensor. So we'll choose our ammonia sensor, and we'll click Continue. Under that same sensors section here in our chemical reading form, it'll ask us to enter a displayed concentration. You can use the measured concentration field if you have applied a correction factor to a reading. This will not be something that's going to be required for the drill. I just wanted to give some context about what that measured concentration field is for. You can then click Save Changes when you've filled these out, and you'll have created your chemical reading. I'll also briefly note that you can create both SITREPs as well as chemical readings and any other data type from the mobile application. During the drill itself, if you're more comfortable creating these data types from the mobile app, that's perfectly fine. What I've demonstrated here is all from the website, of course, but just know that the mobile app will be an option for you as well. The last skill I'll walk through today is adding thresholds to an event. Our thresholds are going to allow us to set severity levels for different types of readings, chemical readings that we're getting in our event. You'll benefit from the colorization that you'll see on the data points on the map itself. So to set these thresholds, we're going to navigate to the thresholds page again on the left side navigation menu under our configuration tab. The thresholds are set by data type. So in this case, we're going to create a chemical reading threshold for an ammonia sensor. We'll start by clicking the Add Threshold Set in the upper right corner there. Again, I want to set a threshold set for my chemical reading data type. So when I'm asked to select a data point type, I'll choose chemical reading from the list. You'll then be brought to back to your threshold set page. I see now that I have this default chemical reading thresholds in the list there. So I want to drill down into the chemical reading thresholds. I'll click the magnifying glass to do that. And then when I'm at the threshold set details, I will click edit in the top to actually set the thresholds for my chemical reading data type. There are a couple things I can do here. In the top, under the general information section, I could actually rename the threshold set if I'd like to, or add a description. I can also change the labels. So you see that by default, the labels are background, low, medium, high, very high. But you can change the names of those thresholds if you'd prefer something different. In the bottom of this page, you'll see a thresholds table. And to the right in the header, you'll see an add a threshold button. So I will click that add threshold button. It's going to ask me to add sensor types. So I want to set thresholds for data I'm getting from my ammonia sensor equipment. And you'll also choose the units that you want to use for the threshold set. In this case, we're using parts per billion. After you click continue on that add sensors box, then within your thresholds table here, you'll just fill in the values that you want to use for your ammonia sensor equipment. So after you do that, filling in a value for the background, low, medium, and high options, then I'll click Save Changes. So that is the skill demonstration portion of the webinar. Again, the drill itself is going to take place next Thursday, December 10th. In the wake of the pre-drill webinar here this afternoon, I will be sending out an email to everyone who is registered for the webinar. It'll include this PowerPoint deck, a link to the folder where in the Chem Responder resource library that's housing all of our drill resources, as well as the recorded version of this video. I'll also be including a Word document that has some pre-drill guidance for you that will essentially be a summary of a lot of the information that I've presented here. So again, that'll be just another resource for you as you prepare for the drill next week. Again, just a quick reminder, here's our drill schedule. So we'll be getting underway officially at 1 p.m. Eastern. Again, about 15 minutes prior to 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll be sending everybody an email that has drill guidance. The drill for the execution portion in particular, there will be a lot of self-guided activities. So that drill guidance document will be very important for you to navigate your way through that portion. If you have questions, we encourage you to reach out to us. Our support email is support@chemresponder.net. You can also find the contact button in the ribbon bar at the Chem Responder site and send us a question through that web form as well. We welcome any questions or feedback that you've got in the lead up to the drill here. That concludes the webinar. Again, I appreciate all of you for joining us. We really look forward to next week's drill. Like Dante mentioned at the outset, this is the first Chem Responder drill, nationwide drill that we've done. We expect that we're going to get some great feedback and some great participation, so we look forward to that. I'll remain on the line. If there are any questions, I encourage you to either use the question box to type in questions that you've got. You can also use the raise hand function. I can bring you off mute if you use the raise hand function so we can have some dialogue. If you don't have questions, again, thank you for participating, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.
Sean, looks like we got a question in the box.
Yeah, thanks, Dante. And I'm responding within the box here, typing out some answers. There are a couple questions here that I think will be beneficial for the whole. So I've asked if everything will be doable from an office setting. And that's a really good thing that I wish I would have clarified at the outset. So the answer is yes. The drill can be done entirely from an office setting, just at your desktop, your laptop. The drill does not require any in-person gathering, so you can complete it 100% individually if that's your preference. Ellen also asked an important question. Should each individual be creating their own event for the drill, or should there be one event per organization? So again, the drill can be completed individually if that's your preference. So if you just want to work alone, you can create your own event and carry out the drill by yourself. If you want to coordinate internally with your own agency, that's fine too. You could create an event, have all of your personnel in that event, and essentially once you get past the create event part of the drill, the rest of the sections of the drill, each person can kind of complete on their own. You'll be able to see one another's data, of course. So if you want to do some internal coordination, that's up to you, but we did want to make sure that the drill was able to be completed just by individuals without requiring any coordination if they were just participating themselves. Dave, I saw that you are trying to figure out how to raise your hand there, so I will just unmute you, David, so that you can ask a question if you've got it.
Yay.
Yep.
Thanks. Actually, I think you've answered it. CSAC, of course, doesn't have a ammonia facility, but we definitely want to get as many people to play as possible. So I think that if we're able to do it just in an office setting, that'd be great. Is there anything additional we need to know? How do we get the software to do this? I don't think we have it in access to CSAC at the moment. At least I don't.
Oh, yeah, good question. So Chem Responder is a web-based platform, so there's not any software you need to download or anything like that. You can just use your web browser, ChemResponder.net, and you'll have access to all the functionality that I've shared.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. I will pass that on to the other folks here.
Great. Yep, let me know if you have any other questions, David.
David, this is Dante. Does CSAC have an organization created? I believe they do.
They very well may. I am just taking little baby steps here, Dante. So
Okay.
we probably do. I'm thinking that Sun may have already done that.
Yes.
I may reach out to her about that, but I'm pretty sure that she's the lead on that, and she and Jessica probably have already done something with it.
I'm fairly sure she has. But if you need access, or do you have an account yourself?
I do not. I and Dr. Reed are in here today to learn about the system, and also Sun and Jessica are spread thin in other meetings, and we're sort of making sure that we backstop their efforts as well.
Gotcha. So if you are going to request an account, you can request access to the CSAC organization when you do.
Okay.
So.
Okay. One other thing, and this may seem very trivial, if somebody, an IT type person, could send out some basic instructions on how to do the WebEx setup. It was not intuitive to me, and I just barely got it done. And I think Dave Reed's having some struggle with it. So if you have somebody that can put together 5 bullets as to how to get it set up, you know, that'd be great.
Sure. Sean and I can follow up with you on that.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks. That's what I needed.
No problem. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, Glenn asked a question. It looks like he'll have a conflict at this and asked if he could join the drill a little late. Yep, that's completely fine, Glenn. So if others are in that same position where they can't join right at 1 p.m. Eastern, again, if you're registered, you'll receive an email with the day of drill guidance. So you can just kind of pick up wherever we are when you're able to jump on and dive in. I think if you're going to miss the beginning portion, again, some of that will just be some introductions, some setup, our presentation from our partners at ASTI, and then you'll probably still be there for the drill execution and the hot wash. So you still get a lot of value out of it, I think. Okay, it doesn't look like there are any more questions, so I'll conclude the webinar at this point. Again, if you do have questions after we sign off here, support@chemresponder.net. You can send us an email. Also have the contact tab again up there in the Chem Responder ribbon bar. Again, appreciate everyone's time, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.